Ever heard, don't drink your calories? Well, today I am flipping the script. Drinks do not have to be just filled with empty calories and hidden sugar. In fact, they can be a part of a strategic weight loss plan to help you greatly boost your metabolism and get rid of that stubborn, unwanted weight. I'm going to share with you my favorite morning drinks as a dietitian that I designed for myself and for my clients to help boost metabolism. Definitely stay until the end because I'm going to be sharing with you the exact products I use to make these drinks, and I'll be teaching you along the way how to make good decisions when it comes to sourcing ingredients. At the end of the day, for a metabolism boosting lifestyle, you're gonna want to make good decisions when it comes to selecting quality products so that you're not accidentally introducing a bunch of toxins into the mix. May here, I'm a registered dietitian and functional medicine practitioner. I absolutely love helping men and women like you look and feel your best after 40 by optimizing your metabolism, hormones, and health span. This is the channel to be following if you want the latest science and strategies behind looking and feeling your best. If you haven't already, definitely download my must-have food guide to boosting your metabolism down below. Alrighty, let's dive in. So in my recent Foods to Fight Belly Fat video, which I'll link down below for you to watch later, I mentioned a series of spices and teas that have a ton of research backing them to show that they do a lot to help your metabolism thrive. That list I've included in here, and today I'm going to be breaking down how to incorporate 5 of these spices and teas into 4 different drinks that I use all the time for myself and for my clients. You definitely don't need to be drinking all of these drinks every single morning or every single day for that matter, but the idea is the more variety the better. If you can rotate these drinks into your days, depending on your mood, depending on the weather, you're getting in those spices and teas that really give your metabolism that extra support without you doing the same thing every single day and getting sick and tired of it. So variety is key. So my first metabolism boosting drink of the day is green tea. And yes, I start with this first because it's near and dear to my Chinese roots. But on top of that, I would say one of the most well-researched polyphenols in green tea is something called EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. You don't have to remember that, just say EGCG. If you Google Scholar EGCG, you will see how much research has been done on this particular polyphenol. It is naturally occurring in green tea, but it's also the highest in a form of green tea called matcha. A recent paper on the therapeutic effects of EGCG reviewed research that supports that EGCG lowers weight, lowers blood sugar, decreases food intake, increases fatty acid oxidation or the breakdown of fat, and possibly also increases ATP production or energy production in mitochondria, essentially increasing cellular metabolism or our ability to make energy on a cellular level. Matcha has the highest amount of this particular polyphenol, EGCG, and it also has higher amounts of something called L-theanine, which is a calming amino acid that counters the stimulating effects of caffeine. So compared to regular tea bags, matcha is always found in a powder. You always ingest the powder, and that's why it's so good for you. Now, so many times I hear people say, ew, matcha, it's just way too bitter for me unless it's in a latte chock full of sugar. And my comment to that is, you've probably been drinking culinary matcha, a lower grade of matcha this entire time, and that's why you're having such a bitter experience. There are different grades of matcha, just like a lot of other things. The highest grade of matcha is called ceremonial grade. It is the first harvest of leaves. It's going to be sweeter, it's going to be less bitter, it's going to be greener and have more antioxidants in it than other grades of matcha. A lower grade is going to be culinary grade, which is more bitter, less green, and it's usually always paired with either milk or sugar or a combination of the two to be made into like food items that can mask the bitterness of matcha. So if you're looking for the highest levels of antioxidants and the cleanest taste, you're gonna always want to go with ceremonial grade matcha, and ideally organic, because you're, again, grounding down all these leaves, turning it into a concentrated powder and ingesting it. So if you had pesticides on those leaves, you're gonna be concentrating the pesticides on those leaves. So always go organic and go ceremonial grade. By the way, if you're sensitive to caffeine, just for the record, matcha has about 60 to 70 milligrams of caffeine per cup, as opposed to coffee, its counterpart, which usually has twice as much of that. But it definitely has way more caffeine than just traditional bagged tea. So keep that in mind when you're drinking matcha. Okay, so I've been exclusively drinking ceremonial grade matcha. I'm kind of a snob about it now. And the company I've been drinking this entire time is Taste of Kyoto, straight from Japan. I mean, they are the real deal. They do sell on Amazon. If you get it, you'll notice it's priced a little bit higher than other matchas on Amazon, but for sure, you definitely are getting the highest quality. Trust me, I have tried a lot of matcha over the years, and I always come back to Taste of Kyoto. It's available on Amazon for convenience. You can definitely buy direct from Taste of Kyoto as well, but I'll link their Amazon down below because it's easy. All right, I'm just gonna say this. There are a ton of single serving ceremonial grade matchas out there on Amazon, and I have 3 reasons why I don't go with the single serving packets. Number 1, it's a ton of packaging waste, which is bad for the environment. Number 2, this is my pet peeve, is a ton of that ceremonial grade matcha gets stuck on the inside of that packaging, and it doesn't all come out no matter how much you shake it. So you literally waste a bunch of your high-end matcha that you're paying for. And I always end up like wanting to lick the package on the inside to get every single last drop of matcha, but that doesn't always look so ladylike when you're in public. And my 3rd reason for not buying single serving ceremonial grade is none of the stuff ever mixes properly. If you're trying to shake matcha on the go in a water bottle, you will have clumpy matcha, and nothing ruins your matcha experience forever than having a clump of matcha in your mouth while you're drinking. It totally is not worth it. So ditch the single serving packets. They do not work for all the above reasons. Okay, so the person who taught me how to make matcha properly is my good friend Kamiko. She is a seasoned meditation and yoga teacher, and her and I actually filmed a masterclass together on how to make matcha. So if you want access to that, check out the link down below. In brief, I make my matcha with a traditional bamboo whisk and spoon, except I use a 4 measuring cup, a glass one, so I can really get that motion, the whisking motion going. Plus I can stir in my allulose or my almond milk or my collagen and get it really evenly incorporated, and then I transfer it into a to-go stainless steel mug so I can take it around, sip it while I'm prepping for patients in the morning or while I'm driving the kids to school. Now, ideally, you are drinking matcha in a undistracted, meditative way, the way that it was meant to be in tea ceremonies. But I'm just sharing, I'm not perfect either. I'm a busy mom with 3 toddlers running around, sometimes looking like a chicken with my head cut off, so I might as well be drinking matcha on the go than no matcha at all. I'm not perfect either, and I'm just being real. I mentioned this earlier, but I want to emphasize a quick hack if you have a hard time getting in enough protein at breakfast is to add unflavored collagen to any of the drinks I'm talking about, including matcha or any of the ones I'm talking about after that. So remember, collagen is a great way to get protein in, and it doesn't change the texture or flavor of your drink if you're getting unflavored. My favorite is by Designs for Health, Whole Body Collagen. I'll link them down below. Lastly, if all of the above ways of drinking matcha don't work for you, you could always throw a spoonful of matcha into your smoothie in the blender, give it a quick whirl to incorporate it at the very end of your smoothie making, and then drink it that way. So do what works for you. Next on the list of my metabolism boosting drinks is cacao. Now, people say cacao, they say cocoa, they say chocolate. What's the difference? Let me just break it down briefly. Cacao refers to the bean before it's roasted. Cocoa refers to the bean after it's been roasted. Chocolate usually refers to a cocoa product. So after the roasting, they've conched it, tempered it, and made it into either a bar or a chip or some kind of confectionery treat. when it comes to finding the highest levels of polyphenols and flavonoids that are metabolism boosting, you want to stick to cacao, the raw version, the unroasted version of chocolate. And by the way, never ever buy Dutch processed cocoa. It has been stripped of most, like 90% of the flavonoids in it, so that is just a waste of time altogether. When choosing cacao for a drink, Navitas, the brand, came out with the lowest amounts of lead and cadmium according to a recent Consumer Labs report. On their website, they say that their current average cadmium levels in their cacao powder is 0.4 micrograms per gram, and lead levels are 0.01 micrograms per gram. I'll link them down below just so you have access to them. So California's standard maximum allowable dose levels, MADL, of lead is 0.5 micrograms a day, and for cadmium is 4.1 micrograms a day in food. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like, 1 gram of cacao powder is a little less than half a teaspoon. So 5 teaspoons, which is 1 teaspoon shy of 2 tablespoons, for all you non-bakers out there who don't do a lot of converting on a daily basis, 5 teaspoons of Navitas puts you close to your daily limit of cadmium and about 1/5 of your daily dose of lead that's allowable. So all of this goes to say you really don't want to be exceeding more than 2 tablespoons of Navitas cacao powder, which is the cleanest, most purest cacao that I can find on the market. And that doesn't include the occasional chocolate cereal, chocolate bar, chocolate collagen powder, chocolate protein powders that we get from other sources. So definitely keep that in mind if you're a chocolate lover and you consume a lot of chocolate flavored things. My favorite way of incorporating cacao into my drinks is to make a adaptogenic drink, a mixture of cacao with something like ashwagandha. Because I'm type A, ashwagandha really helps to balance me out, and it's also good for bones if you have tendency towards osteoporosis like I do. That's for another video. But yes, essentially it's like a hot chocolate that you make yourself. Now, if you're trying to avoid saturated fats, you would use like an unsweetened almond milk instead of like a full fat dairy. Or if you really want a creamy taste, you could use something like macadamia, which is macadamia nut milk. Always go with the unsweetened version, add your own sweetener in. I like to use allulose. As those of you who watch my other videos know, it's kind of my sweetener of choice. If it's not clear already, I'm just gonna say this, is never ever ever buy hot chocolate in a packet. Ones that have little marshmallows floating on top. Don't get those thinking that it's gonna help boost your metabolism. Those are like 1/100th part chocolate and the other 99 part sugar and milk. It is absolutely not a chocolate drink, it is a sugar drink. So avoid the hot chocolate mixes altogether and make your own. The next metabolism boosting drink involves turmeric. Turmeric's most well-researched polyphenol is curcumin. Perhaps you've heard of it before. I mentioned in my belly fat video that curcumin activates GLP-1 agonists similar to like an Ozempic. And so yes, it has a lot of research supporting that it does in fact support your metabolism. Curcumin also looks like it increases energy expenditure by also working on the microbiome. So even though it's really easy to pop a pill of curcumin, research actually shows that turmeric has other bioactive components that make it super therapeutic even outside of curcumin. The reason why a lot of people shy away from fresh turmeric is yes, it only has usually 2 to 6% curcumin. It is very staining, but on top of that, it potentially can also be contaminated with lead. So when I did the research, because we know that food is always our best medicine, when I did the research, I found a company that checks every batch for lead, and they are the lowest in the industry when it comes to finding lead-free turmeric. It's grown here in the US, and the company is American Turmeric. They actually have a patented fermenting process that makes turmeric more bioavailable in terms of being able to absorb all of the bioactives and the curcuminoids in the turmeric. And I just want to show you, they also have an amazing product that basically is a food-based supplement called Curcuma Max. So Curcuma Max is their supplement, their whole food supplement version of turmeric. They basically took their fermented turmeric and then also added standardized curcumin from their turmeric to make it like 95% curcumin plus fermented turmeric. And this stuff is so potent, tastes amazing. Look at the color of this stuff. I just want to show you. Just beautiful. Does it stain? Yes. You probably want to keep this isolated to your kitchen, very close to the kitchen sink. I accidentally left one of the caps of my coffee mug after drinking a golden latte. I left it on my granite countertop in the bathroom because I washed it there. And I have a stained yellow ring to prove that I had drank turmeric that day. My husband, it doesn't know yet. Don't tell him. No, he will see it. I also, in filming this video, have this in my office, and I touched my keyboards, and now a few of those keys look bright yellow. And so, yes, it fades over time, but it is still super annoying. So keep this in a designated area, clean everything thoroughly to avoid staining. Of course, the most traditional application of turmeric is a golden latte. I love making my own, of course. I heat up almond milk on the stove just before it boils, turn it off. I add 2 times as much turmeric as I add cinnamon and ginger. And historically, you always use raw local honey, but in this case, because I have blood sugar issues, and for some of my patients and clients out there who also have blood sugar issues, you could always substitute allulose as a alternative. By the way, cinnamon briefly is on my list of metabolism boosting spices. Ceylon cinnamon is not Saigon, it's Ceylon. Ceylon is basically the better form of cinnamon if you're going to be eating a bunch of cinnamon, because it has way less coumarin, which is toxic to your liver, than something like cassia or cassia cinnamon. Also, Saigon cinnamon is this version of cinnamon. So Ceylon cinnamon, not Saigon, not cassia or cassia cinnamon. Okay. And by the way, I was doing my research, and it turns out there's a lot of companies on Amazon posing to be selling Ceylon cinnamon that's organic, and then they get found out that they're actually selling cassia or cassia cinnamon, and they're not organic at all. They get taken off the marketplace, and over the years or months, they kind of sneak back on. So there are a lot of adulterated, shady cinnamon products on the market in Amazon. And so you want to know what you're buying. And so I did my research, and I am advocating for Ceylon Cinnamon Shop. I talked to the owner directly. He sources this stuff himself from Sri Lanka and goes through the entire process. He does it right. His products are amazing. This is the powdered version I like to use in my golden latte. I'll link them down below too. Okay, so since it's summertime, a lot of people don't like drinking hot drinks all the time, even if it's a little cold out in the morning. So I like to make my golden latte and then stick it in a glass kombucha jar and cool it and have it as a really nice, refreshing drink in the hot afternoon. So try that out. Let me know if you like it. And of course, you could always make it in the evenings too as an evening drink. These drinks don't have to be only in the morning. And of course, you could always have a golden latte after dinner as a sweet treat to end the day. Just don't drink it right before bed. Not that it has any caffeine, but it just can kind of feel heavy and sit there. My very final metabolism boosting drink, last but not least, is rooibos, which is red African bush tea. I mentioned this in my Foods That Fight Belly Fat video, that rooibos has a very unique polyphenol. It has many polyphenols, but this one is unique to rooibos, not found anywhere else, called aspartame, and it is a stress-reducing polyphenol, which we know anything that reduces stress is very good for your metabolism. Now, the brand that I love the most is Red Espresso, because you can get this rich rooibos that's way fuller and thicker than just buying a tea bag version. That way you also avoid tea bags in general, which can have bleach in the paper products. It can have nylon in the little triangle bags. There can be a lot of toxin issues when it comes to bagged teas. So going with a cut up espresso in bulk is always safer. I like making my rooibos espresso in a traditional French press. I like to make sure it is a little bit sweetened, and sometimes I will add almond milk. And again, just like the golden latte, a lot of times I make this in the morning, cool it in a kombucha glass jar, and drink it as an afternoon cold drink. So there you have it, 4 amazing drinks that will keep your metabolism humming all day long. And I've given you an inside look at my thought processing when it comes to sourcing proper ingredients that are clean and pure and of the highest potency. And you got maybe a little bit insider look at my crazy kitchen and my setup at home. Don't judge me again, I got 3 toddlers. Okay, well, that's it for now. I hope you learned a ton. Show me down below some comments of what you've tried and what you've embraced in your daily metabolic boosting routine, and we will see you next time.